We've been spending a good deal of time down under as of late, so I feel like we deserve a nice little vacation, yes? So does anyone feel up for some camping in the forest? Our biome series continues, and today sees us talking one that many have plenty experience with, yet perhaps still know little about. So, let's discuss the forest biome. And distinguishing forests on the map should be very easy, considering the sheer amount of bloody trees that will be visible. However, do note that the dark green turf will also indicate a forest biome as well. This is really only worthy information simply due to forests sometimes spawning within other biomes and vice versa, or as smaller patches of land dotted about the world. In short, forests take up a whole heck of a lot of map at the end of the day. Speaking of trees, the two types of evergreens will be the most common within a forest, and as we know, both variants have a 4-stage growth cycle, and both will be providing various amounts of wood based on said cycle. However, lumpy evergreens do not drop pine cones, while normal evergreens will, so renewability could be an issue. But no worries, even if we can't replant lumpy evergreens, world regrowth will make it so lumpy saplings respawn every now and then. But one last note, don't forget that digging up the tree stumps of most trees will grant 1 extra log for your troubles. And of course, due to there being so many dang trees on screen at any given time, this biome is certainly where most players will encounter tree guardians, at least the evergreen kind. This isn't a tree guardian guide, however, so we'll quickly move on here. But it is fun that both normal and lumpy evergreen guardians do exist, and know that these guys are what you are after if you're looking into magic crafting for the first time. Head to a forest for your best bet there. But if we're talking living trees, we best highlight these totally normal, not overly terrifying trees with a face. Totally normal trees are quite rare in forest, and their numbers are low to begin with, but really only spawn in forest. So this biome is your ticket to find them by default, regardless. Evil flowers spawn around them, and they are what drain your sanity, not the trees themselves. The trees do, however, drop living logs as compared to normal ones, and don't forget to dig up the stump for an extra living log to boot. Unfortunately, totally normal trees are non-renewable outside of the Hallowed Night seasonal event, so be mindful there. They're kind of just good fallbacks if you need living logs desperately. As for some other flora, the most common resource will be twigs in the form of saplings, of course, as very rarely actually will one find grass tufts, berry bushes, or even flowers within this biome. It's the forest biomes that spawn within or around others that see all the other resources show up at the end of the day. Oh, and I don't think I need to dive deep into any of these now, do I? Forests, though, are an okay place to look for mineral resources, as both smooth and gold vein boulders can be quite plentiful here, actually. You won't break the bank, and this is likely more important for those in the early game, but the point is that wood ain't the only thing that you're going to be walking out with when exploring this biome. Forests are dense little suckers that can really give early players a solid start and intermediate players a lovely source of anything they need. But with density comes potential danger, as forests are typically home to numerous, and I mean numerous, spider dens that are pretty darn squished together. Spiders drop some essential loot, which of course makes this biome a great farming spot for them at any time, especially considering how often you'll likely run into some mob-on-mob violence around these parts. But do keep in mind, wait too long to thin them out, and perhaps your later game forest visits will be a bit more sticky than usual. At least way more annoying than they could be. Another set of mobs to call this biome home are pigmen, and by golly, they too are quite common at the end of the day. Pigmen are so incredibly useful on so many levels, from resource management, loot, and even combat, that forests are really just recruitment centers for Pete's sake. If you are one to create pig farms, I would also recommend having a hammer at the ready when walking around the trees in the early game, as you'll find pig houses left and right and ready to plunder. A little side note here. The two most common birds in this biome will be redbirds and crows, as forest turf here attracts both, which is absolutely lovely. So just use this information however you please. Graves are commonly found among the evergreens as well, so a shovel is quite handy around here it seems. There will certainly not be as many found as compared to an actual graveyard, but you might be surprised. Still, graves have a 3.07% chance of providing gears, a life-giving amulet, or even a piece of nightmare fuel, a 15.35% chance of digging up a blue or red gem, and a 50% chance of getting a trinket of many sorts. Not a bad idea to try your luck here and there, but do remember that each grave disturbed means 10 sanity lost and 10% chance of encountering a spooky ghost. And you know what else folk find spooky? The elusive stagehand. This thing will spawn in one of your forest biomes, and it is surely quite the sight, especially at night. For the stagehand is actually some sentient nightmare that seeks out and thus follows light, including sources provided by the player. So many a jump scares have come from this thing, I am sure of it. They cannot be destroyed in any way, but hammering them 86 times results in you receiving the blueprint for the end table. A decorative structure that holds flowers within it, provides a small sanity bonus for doing so, can provide light if light flowers are planted within it, and even has defense capabilities due to very little being able to pass through or even destroy them. Amazing little things. Perhaps they even deserve their own spotlight. Lastly, one of my favorites, the Moonstone event, or I guess the structure that hosts said event, aptly named the Moonstone. It is found among the forest biomes, and forest biomes only, so get to searching. But I love this thing / event, so I do not wish to spoil it for you. Go discover more about it so that you can love it now too. But there you have it everyone, the forest biome. A few more things to note though, would be that MacTusk technically calls the forest home, but he's usually just at the end of the road leading to or through the forest itself, so be aware of that. You can also find cave entrances, ponds, and therefore moose goose spawns within this biome too, but those ain't worthy of too much discussion within this particular video. And finally, expect to encounter all 3 mushroom variants here as well. The forest is one heck of a biome, with a lot happening all around you at one time, so you must learn about the many pieces to it in order to truly complete the puzzle and thus thrive among the trees. But thanks for watching folks, well wishes to all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!